just expressed so much frustration that in the case of yet another black woman in this country, there was no charges brought, but rather only a
veteran. He's been in the league for 7 years. He came over in the Iguodala Jay Crowder trade, but has hardly played. Played a little bit in the bump.
Into the roll lane and was able to deflect the ball.
In that game 3. Said he was gassed after the first 5 minutes. Herro, nice fake to get rid of Tatum and then knocks right now. 31-28, Heat with a 3-point advantage. Herro lost it, got it back, turns, shoots, and scores. It's averaging almost 8 rebounds a game in the series. And banks that one beautifully.
Score here in the first 2 quarters. The 20-year-old rookie Tyler Herro, 15 points in 18 minutes. It's game 4. We're at halftime.
And Adebayo hurt his wrist, left wrist and hand 2 possessions ago.
He's holding on to it on the far side of the court. You can see him, foul line extended. Jimmy Butler 4 to shoot. Backing in, feet inside. Herro with a left hand. Tatum finally gets on the board.
Trap him.
Tatum again goes right at Crowder. Count it and 1. Kemba Walker stops back up top. Tatum, pull up, 2-pointer. Got it as the shot clock expires. Tatum with a huge third quarter. 6.
Before we dive into the analysis, don't forget to enter our PS5 giveaway on Twitter. A link to that's in the description down below. Leave a like and subscribe to help the channel grow, because once I reach a certain amount of subscribers, guys, the NBA will have no problem with me using their library without potentially claiming my content or striking down my channel, which is what's happened to a lot of other content creators in the past. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Guys, if there's one thing that I've noticed about each and every single one of these games between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics is there has yet to be a blowout. All these games always go down to the wire and go down to the final minutes, and the team that ends up winning is always the team that has the most experience, is the most composed, and has the most poise. But in the case of the Miami Heat, here's one strange thing that happened tonight. The best player on the basketball court tonight was by far the least experienced player throughout this entire playoff series, and that's Tyler Herro. Before we praise Tyler Herro, we need to discuss the Boston Celtics, because the Boston Celtics definitely let us all down tonight, especially Jason Tatum. Now, Jason Tatum had a remarkable second half, but I just can't help but wonder how this game would have been affected if he was a little bit more involved in the first half. Now, Jason Tatum was able to go on and shoot just underneath 50% from the field. He had about 30 points, 4 assists, 9 rebounds, 1 steal, and 3 blocks, but he had 6 turnovers in the game, and the story remains the same. The Boston Celtics cannot help but turn the ball over because they have so much trouble penetrating the Miami Heat's zone defense. And it's once again the same exact thing that's screwing over Brad Stevens and the Boston Celtics. It's the Miami Heat zone. And that's got to be very frustrating because they literally had 3 days to sit back and prepare and game plan for the Miami Heat zone defense. And it appears as though Brad Stevens came out with absolutely no solutions to it. And the result is once again the same. Now, don't get it twisted. I don't think the blunt of this entire game falls on Jason Tatum's shoulders because, again, in the second half, he responded when his number was called, and he was able to bring his team back within striking distance to potentially win the game. But you see, that's the big problem over here. His coach needs to develop more if he wants to develop more. And if he's not able to outcoach Eric Spoelstra, who's pretty much using the same exact tactic on him over and over and over again, then the Boston Celtics are going to stagnate at this point again. I always mention that Jason Tatum has been here before. He's made it to the Eastern Conference Finals before. And in the past, I also said that the only thing that's holding back the Boston Celtics is their lack of experience. But tonight I was proven wrong. It's nothing to do with that at all. It has 100% to do with coaching. Because on the other side of the basketball court was Erik Spoelstra, a head coach that's been here before as well. Although in the past, and I know I might get a lot of hate for this, and you can't really blame me, about 10 years ago when he was here, or, well, it wasn't exactly 10 years ago, it was more like 8 years ago or 9 years ago, I thought he was more like Tyronn Lue than an actually good head coach. And I'm going to admit that. I'm going to 100% admit that. I thought that the only reason that he was in the NBA Finals was because of LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade. And although I'm sure some of my subscribers would agree with that, I think he's a completely different head coach now. I think the reason why he is where he is because the Miami Heat have established a culture where they are phenomenal at developing their star players and developing role players into above average players. I didn't think Kelly Olynyk would ever be like a legitimate piece or a good role player on a contending team. But here he is, kicking his old team's ass in the Eastern Conference Finals after getting paid a pretty nice contract for his services. Although he didn't really play tonight, that was more of a euphemism than anything else. And then you have Tyler Herro, who I'm going to do my best to not exaggerate how incredible he was tonight, because it's absolutely remarkable to see what he's done. What he did tonight is something that Steph Curry has never even done before in his life. And that's because, well, Steph Curry wasn't even in the NBA when he was Tyler Herro's age, and he wasn't even close to the playoffs until a couple years later. So yeah, of course, Tyler Herro had this advantage, the fact that he had a much better supporting cast. He was in a stable environment from the get-go and had a stable roster built around him from the get-go, and he's being developed remarkably, by the way. The team knows exactly how to use his talents. But scoring almost 40 points off of 66% shooting. That 14 for 21 from the field. Yes, you heard that right. 50% from three. And by the way, he made 5 of 10 of his threes. He also had 6 rebounds and he had 3 assists to go with it. I never thought I'd ever see something like this before. I did an analysis video on Tyler Herro back in the preseason, which is crazy as this is going to sound, which was a year ago. Yeah, the NBA preseason for this year was 1 year ago. Go figure. And I did say he was going to develop into a phenomenal player. I just didn't think he'd develop into this phenomenal of a player this soon. And then you have Bam Adebayo that came in and contributed 20 points off of 12 rebounds. He had 4 assists and 2 steals. You had Jimmy Butler, who was the catalyst as well. 21 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, providing that great two-way energy that he's known for. And of course, Goran Dragic, who has been a bit of a surprise because he hasn't been doing that incredibly during the regular season. I guess he just needed some time off because he's been remarkable throughout this entire playoff series. I never thought that I would see Tyler Herro go off for almost 40 points in a conference finals game when he was drafted by the Miami Heat a year ago. And again, Steph Curry never got the opportunity to do that because Steph Curry wasn't able to even sniff the conference finals until a good 6 years into his career. And of course, once he got there, he did his thing. But to do that as a rookie, and to tell you why that's so remarkable, I've said this over and over and over again. I've said that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart making it to the Eastern Conference Finals back in 2017 was really good for their development. But it appears as though they've kind of hit a wall. And Tyler Herro scoring 40 points almost in a critical conference finals game is even more remarkable for his development. I thought that Tyler Herro was going to be a spot-up shooter for the Miami Heat. I thought he'd be what Duncan Robinson currently is, which he's still a remarkable player, although he didn't really do much tonight. He was 0 for 4 from 3 and literally made nothing from the field. But I'm starting to expect way more from Tyler Herro down the line. And I think that we're looking at a player that is going to become an all-star next year, and if not next year, for sure the year after. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about what you saw tonight? I understand if you're a Celtic fan, you're not really feeling so good about the series. Aside from that, I'm your boy, TheFlightMike, and And I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.